Hello and welcome back to Seconds Out. Today I bring you one of our greatest interviews of 2024 as Danny Flexen caught up with Stan Dubois, the father of IBF heavyweight world champion Daniel Dubois, as they discuss the big night at Wembley Stadium that was upcoming against Anthony Joshua in front of 96,000 people, the upbringing he gave to his children, the upbringing that Stan had himself, and the recent fallout with his daughter Caroline Dubois as she continued to succeed in the professional ranks, recently being crowned the WBC world champion.
Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out in the palatial home, I think it's Chez Dubois. I'm not going to give away the address, don't worry, but delighted to be joined by, now we already had this conversation off camera, but do I call you Dave Dubois? Do I call you Stan
Yeah, call
Dubois?
me Dave Dubois. Yeah, Dave Dubois.
And just tell us, because you've said before your birth name is Stan, how did you pick up the name Dave and why is it stuck?
I picked that name up on the streets of 25 years ago because I used to be a street trader. That was an alias I used to use on the streets because being a street trader without a license, you're likely to get arrested. But back then it wasn't a criminal offence, it was a civil offence. So I used that name, you know.
And you say you're a street trader. For a lot of people watching, that'll bring to mind Del Boy, you know, from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, well, I was a bit of a Del Boy until I found my feet. I used to sell lots of things, wallets and purses, shirts and ties. I did a lot of things. And then I found art, and I got into art and started to sell African, Caribbean and European art.
And where did that kind of entrepreneurial spirit come from, do you think?
I think it comes from my family, I suppose. I must have inherited it from my mother. She was a very ambitious lady. So I think I inherited that from her, you know, plus being someone from the Caribbean with not much food or money. You've got to you've got to find your way pretty quickly.
And why do you think it was posters specifically that kind of made your name and made your fortune?
Because posters, it was a unique thing, posters. Back then I would do a 2,000 run of one image, and I'd print 2,000 of it if I knew it would sell. And back then I would get it printed for 5p.
Wow. And
I would sell them in New York for $10, and in London for £2, and in Paris, and so on. I worked in Paris, I worked in Switzerland, selling posters.
Where did you get the idea to take it international?
Because it grew so fast. I remember the first day I went to work when I printed my first batch of posters. I went to Camden, and I was selling them in Camden. And the following week, I had a few Bob Marley posters, and I made like 50 quid with them. But when I started to put my imagination into it and started developing more European art and all types of art, the first day I went to Camden, I think I made £1,000. Wow. And then it just grew from there because I couldn't believe it. I made that's 25 years ago. The first day at work, I made £1,000. So I thought, wow, I'm on to something here.
And you did really well in New York, specifically.
Yeah, New York was fantastic. I worked in Washington, D.C. I worked in New York. I worked in festivals in America. The first day in New York, I took 7 guys with me. The first day we got off the plane, we went to visit my father. He lived in Brooklyn. And I asked him, where's the best place? Where does everyone hang out? I've never been to America in my life. And I said, where does everyone hang out? He said, 125th Street in Harlem. So 7 of us got on the D train, went down to Harlem, and I'm really good at what I do. So I set it all up for everyone, and we started working. And the first day in New York, I took £4,000. And so I went back to my father's house, and my dad said, oh, how did you do? I said, we counted the money, and it was 4,000 £4,000. And he said, did you just make that now? He says, do you know how much I earned, my dad? He says, do you know how much I earned? Like a week, he was earning a few $100s. Like, he says, you just got off the plane and you've just made £4,000. How could you do that? He says, you can't go back to England, stay here.
That's fair enough.
So that was exciting. That was the beginning of our ventures in America. So we started to go there every weekend. Because we was making so much money, we would fly out every other weekend to New York. And I remember one time I was selling in Harlem, and an English family came over, and I had some posters, and Tupac was on the wall, and one of the English lads said, "Oh, I'll have that, Tupac." So I said, "Where are you from?" He says, "I'm from London." I said, "Whereabouts?" He says he was from Elephant Castle. I said, "Guess where I'm from?" I'm from Deptford. He nearly fainted. He said, "I've come all the way to America to buy a poster from a guy from Deptford."
You're doing really well with the posters. Everything's going great.
Yeah.
Where does the boxing come into it? Have you always been a boxing fan?
No, I never. I grew up watching boxing with my dad. Yeah, and I loved watching Muhammad Ali when I was a kid, and all the American fighters and some of the British fighters. And and I just got an idea one day, because I'm good at getting ideas.
Yeah, apparently so, yeah.
And I just got an idea, and I thought, wow, yeah, I'll have a few kids and put them into boxing. So I met their mum, which was quite unusual. And I met their mum, and I met their mum when I was going to America to sell posters, and I asked her if she wanted to come with me. And she didn't go. She did go, but she didn't go with me. And when I came back to London, I saw her, and we got talking and got friendly, their mother. And I asked her, "Oh, what's your mother's name?" Her mother's name. And she said her mother's name was Veronica. And I said, "That's unusual. My mum's name is Veronica." And then I said, what month was your mother born? And she said, "My mother was born in July." I said, "My mum's born in July." And I said, "What door number do you live at?" She said she lived at number 12. And I said, "I live at number 12. This is a true story. Yeah. And I said, "I live at number 12. So from then, I said, "Wow, this must be the divine at work." Yeah. It has to be the divine. That can't be a coincidence. So I had 7 kids with her.
But why did you decide to put...
And then I decided I'm going to put them into boxing before they were born.
Why? Where did that come from?
I don't know. It's just something within me. I said, put them into boxing, and it will work out. And it did work out.
Well, yeah, it clearly has.
Yeah.
But is that...
I started training them when they were young. I homeschooled Daniel, and he was training when he was young, and I'd be taking him to the gym and things like that. And it all developed from there. It was just an idea.
And you've got a big family, as we just talked about.
Yeah.
I'm a single dad. I've only got one. One's plenty for me.
All right.
But he lives with me.
Yeah.
We're still not very common even now. When you became a single dad, it was very rare.
It was very rare, yeah.
How did that come about, and how difficult was it?
It wasn't difficult. I could manage a lot of things.
Apparently,
I suppose I got used to it through the street trading. I used to have 40 guys working for me in London at one time, and you get used to that. You know what I mean? So it was a numbers game, really.
I find one hard enough. I'm in awe. Especially because you homeschooled them as well.
Yeah, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't difficult. I believed that it was all going to work out. I had a lot of faith. I come from a spiritual background, and I had a lot of faith, and it did work out. So I was right.
And did you have a lot of support, like from your family?
No, I had no support. I supported myself.
That must have been tough.
No,
Never.
never. Me and Daniel used to do the markets.
How old was he then?
He was like, he used to come with me when he was about 13. We worked Ridley Market, Brixton Market.
I know Ridley.
And we supported each other, you know, because I'm good at the posters. And when Obama became president, I went and printed all these Obama posters of him, you know, and they really took off. I sold millions of them, I think. And I shouldn't say this online, should I?
I don't know. Depends if you paid your taxes or not. I mean, we can cut it out.
And me and Daniel would go. I remember one day I said to Daniel, let's go to Bristol and we sell posters. I think he was about 13. I said, come with me. We go to Bristol. There was a festival. So I took my daughter and Daniel to Bristol and we set up the posters. And we set them up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We started taking money at 9 o'clock, non-stop, till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Then I had to say...
16 hours?
16 hours, non-stop. My daughter said it was the best experience of her life. And,
I've got to say though, Daniel doesn't strike me as like a natural market trader.
he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He wasn't cut out for that. Not at all.
Lucky he's good at boxing then, isn't it?
Yeah, he wasn't. Lucky he was good at boxing because he definitely wasn't cut out for that.
No, I hope you don't mind me asking, but did they see much of their mum when they were growing up? Because obviously you're
Yeah,
single
they
dad.
saw their mum all the time. Yeah.
And was that?
Yeah.
Were you all right with that? That was never.
Yeah.
You spent all your time.
She
with them.
came and she was there, and she spent time with us, and she was there, and backwards and forwards.
When was the first time when, instead of having this dream of your kids getting into boxing, that you thought it could be a reality? When was it? What happened that made you think, oh yeah, this could actually work?
I thought that when Daniel was 5 years old.
Why?
I just well, it did work, and that's what I
No,
thought.
no. But did
I
you
told
see
everyone he was going to be world champion. I remember going to Peacock and told a few people in Peacock that, see, this boy is going to be world champion. And they said when I left the building, everyone said he was mad.
They probably still say it now. Let's be honest.
He was bloody crazy. What's he talking about? World champion. And and he became world champion, so I wasn't mad.
No.
I was on
Well, you
point.
might have been mad and just got that right.
Yeah,
but,
no, I was on point.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
Right. But when did he first start doing boxing type training?
Sorry?
When did he start doing boxing type training? Like, how old was he?
Doing the boxing, maybe about 7.
But even just like hitting the pads at home with you?
Yeah,
that's
that's what we was doing,
Yeah.
hitting the bags, hitting the pads. And yeah, it was good fun back then. Then we went to, where did we go? Peacock. Yeah, we went to Peacock. To be honest, I started to go to Peacock when I was a street trader. I used to go there just to keep fit, because sometimes on the streets you've got turfs, what you've got to control, and other street traders will try to get you off your turf. So you've got to be pretty,
nimble.
Yeah?
Nimble.
So I would go to Peacock and do training, just in case another firm came down and tried to kick me off my turf. Like.
And you famously used to do a lot of physical training with Daniel and your other kids as well.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff? Give us a flavour of what sort of age they were and what sort of stuff.
Well, they were really young. Yeah, they were really young. But they were all young, They were all young. I would we'd wake up in the morning and they'll all be doing sit-ups and push-ups and splits and things like that. And I would walk into the room and I would say to them, blessed. And they would say back to me, blessed be the Lord my rock, which strengthens my hands for war and my fingers to fight. They were saying this at 5 years old.
Where does the physical training aspect come from? Is that something you've always done?
I've always done that. I've always been physical on the streets, and it's just my life, I suppose, doing the markets, doing I had a factory as well in South London. I've had a lot of things. I had a shop in Dominica.
Mm.
I street traded all around the Caribbean. You know, I sold posters all around the Caribbean. I remember where were we? In Dominica, we were selling posters in Dominica, and we made so much money. The police came to our hotel. They said they were watching me plain clothes. They said, "We watched you. You made more money than Kentucky Fried Chicken and everybody who was doing business." And they said, "You're not paying anything. You just put them in your suitcase."
Go home, yeah.
I put the pro posters in my suitcase, went to the Caribbean, and then do what I do. But the police was watching me in Dominica, and they came to my hotel and said, like, and I got a bit scared. I thought, Jesus, do they want a bribe or do they want all the money I made? So I opened up a shop in Dominica.
There you go.
Yeah, I opened up a shop thinking I was going to go back there and set it all up in Dominica. But as soon as I got to London, I forgot all about it. So I've lost.
So it's still there somewhere. Yeah. Brilliant. So I read once that you said that Daniel, even from a young age, could do press-ups for hours.
Oh yeah, he used to do press-ups for hours on end. All of them did, to be honest. It's just a part of the training because boxing is a dangerous sport, and if you're not prepared, that's why he's so strong. Because as it was in the beginning, if you're strong in the beginning, you're likely to be strong in the end.
But was he already strong? Because not all
he was
kids
born
would
strong.
to
He
that,
was a
would they?
very strong child. He was strong.
Because most kids, if you tried to get them to do press-ups for hours on him, just wouldn't do it, or they give up easily. Or...
I know, I suppose because they're in the system. My kids wasn't in the system. I was their system. I was their school teacher. I was their leader. They looked to me. So they did what I said, you know?
Did you always know that you were going to be a dad and have that many kids? And
Yeah, well, I had a family when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
I had a family. I had 2 kids, and I used to go to work and come home and look after my kids. And I had a wife, and I was 16, and I had 2 children. You know, I lived in Fulham, and it all fell apart because I let the lady take. I know it sounds a bit sexist, but I let her take control of everything. And it all fell apart. So I decided I'll never do that again. I'll take control myself. And it won't fall apart. Because when I do things, it doesn't fall apart. But when I let someone else lead me, it usually falls apart.
So do you take kind of a business approach that you used for your success?
Yeah, I suppose it was, in a way.
Fatherhood?
Yeah, I suppose it was for the second one around. Because I had a family at 16. And then I had another family again. Well, it wasn't a family. When that family broke up, I met another lady who had 2 children, and I had a child with her, but that didn't work out. And that's when I met my current baby mother, Michelle, and I had 7 children with her.
And then you had your...
And then by that time, I've gathered a lot of knowledge. And I knew what I needed to do.
And they're all successful in very
because I gathered
areas.
a lot of knowledge. You know, I had a family when I was 16. I was like a black traveller.
So do you think you need? do you think you needed that experience?
Sorry.
That's all right. Do you think you needed that experience?
Yes, definitely.
You needed to fail before.
Yeah,
you
have to fail before you can rise. You can't just rise. There's no fun in it, I suppose. Huh?
I agree.
Yeah.
Not always fun, but yeah. When Daniel was an amateur, he went to a lot of different amateur clubs. Why was that?
We never really went. They only noticed us because we were black. Everyone does that. Everyone leaves clubs, and if it doesn't work out in one club, if you're not doing well, you try another club, and that's what I did. when it wasn't working out for him, I went to another club. Everyone does it. All the
What would
travellers,
normally-
everyone does it.
What would normally be the reasons for that, though? Would it be that he's not getting enough fights?
He wasn't getting enough fights, or I don't know. Some clubs, it just wasn't working out for him. So I would take him somewhere else. And when I went to Del Youth, he won everything. When we was in Repton, he weren't winning anything. So I said, well, let's go Del Youth. And then he started winning. So it was the right decision.
Did you ever get much resistance from any of the clubs or the coaches?
Oh, all the time, yeah. Not because of me, because I suppose boxing's a funny old sport, isn't it? If you're not a traveller, it might be hard work.
What sort of resistance would you get? What was their issue?
Then, not really. Repton was good. I just left Repton. I remember leaving Repton and went to the Lynn, and then Repton had a show, and we turned up with the Lynn.
That's a bold move.
I know. I weren't thinking, to be honest. And I turned up with the Lynn, and that's when I realised, because maybe I didn't understand how it all worked at the time, the politics. I suppose I was a bit naive. I didn't understand how it worked. I was just leaving clubs to help my son. I weren't thinking about what they were thinking about. I was more thinking about my son.
Was the plan always to have Daniel go professional quite young?
No, not really. I wanted him to go to the Olympics and stuff. But yeah, one day I went to, where was it? Peacock. We were training in Peacock. And that's where it all started, I suppose. They wanted him to turn over Peacock Gym. And yeah, and I suppose we took the offer that they offered us and we turned over, you know?
Do you ever regret it now that he didn't get more international experience, senior experience?
Because I didn't understand back then. Now I understand it's better to get a bit more boxing experience as an amateur. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but Daniel was so strong. I suppose he learned on the job, really, Daniel. He just learned on the job. A lot of ups and downs, and now he's a bit more mature and he's grown up. He's able to find his feet a lot better.
And we talked about how you move through different amateur clubs. You see it as just normal. If it's not working out, go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it. I didn't know they were looking at me, though.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, they were. I started hearing things. But I weren't looking at none of it. I was just looking at my kid. I said, if he ain't doing well here, like Caroline, when we went to Repton, I said to Caroline, they don't want boys there, so let's disguise you as a boy. I'll call you Colin. You know, I'm a street trader, you know what I mean? I come up with all these ideas.
Dave and Colin, yeah.
So I said, Caroline, we'll call you Colin. We'll get up there, because I realised she could box. I didn't want her to box. I don't like women boxing, to be honest. And I don't. So I didn't want her to box because I don't like women boxing. But she's a good boxer. So I said, wow, you can box. One day she was crying when I got home, and I said, what are you crying for? She said she wants to box. I said, you can't box. You're a woman. So she says, I can. I've been practicing. So I said, show me. So, and I said, wow, you're not bad, are you? So I said, wow, you're not bad. You're pretty good. So I said, all right, we go Repton and we say you're a boy and disguise you as a boy. So that's what we did. We went Repton and I disguised her as a boy and said her name was Colin. And then Bobby Beck called me to one side one day. He said, come here. He said, you know, you're Colin. That's one for the future.
I thought you were going to say, told you it was a girl and you had to act surprised.
No, he said, that's one for the future. And I said, wow, bloody hell. And then she had a spar with a boy and made the boy cry. So I said to the dad, do you know that Colin's a girl, don't you? Just winding him up.
You blew your own cover.
I blew my
just
cover.
to wind him up.
I'd
probably have done the
he was
same.
pissing me off, the dad. So I had to give him it. I
You had to tell him straight.
Yeah, I told him straight because he was pissing me off. So I said, Colin, my son, it's not a son, it's a girl. So that was that. And then Bobby Beck come up to me the following week and said, we got a fight for Colin. So I said, Caroline, what we going to do? They've got you a fight. So she said, we better leave. So we left and went to the Lynn. And then from the Lynn, we went back to Dell Youth. And it was a good journey. I enjoyed going club, to be honest, because every club had something different to offer.
Well, thus far as a pro, I think Daniel's on his fourth trainer or fourth gym now. I know Mark Tibbs, he didn't actually have a fight there.
No, we never worked with Mark. Mark was a good trainer. They're all good trainers, to be honest.
So what's been the reasons for moving on? Originally from Martin and then Shane.
Experience, I suppose, and other things as well, what I don't want to talk about. But experience, just to get someone who can train Daniel and help him win. That's what boxing's about.
So when Daniel lost to Joe Joyce, before we talk about any decisions that were made after, how did that affect you?
It really affected me because I didn't want him to fight Joe because I know Joe was born in September and I know what September people are like. They're very tough.
Okay.
What month are you born?
August, unfortunately.
You're born in August.
Yeah, you probably could have guessed that just by looking at me. It wasn't September, but...
No, because one of my posters, this is one of my posters, yeah? And in the Bible, you have 12 disciples that followed Christ, okay?
Of course, yeah.
And Martin Bowers, who we were working with...
He's still a manager, right, Martin Bowers?
No, he's not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, but when I did... In the Bible, you got 12... You're born in August, yeah?
August, yeah.
Let's have a look here.
It's not Judas, is it?
No, that's July.
Okay, thank God for that.
In August, the disciple that was born the same time as you was Jude.
Okay.
The tribe in the Bible you come from is Isaiah. Yeah?
Okay.
Your body part is your hands.
Yes.
You're very good with your hands.
Still got it.
You got it, man. Your spiritual color is yellow. Your positive nature is simplicity. Your faculty is eliminator. You're very good at getting rid of what you don't want. You're negative. That's why you live alone, I suppose.
I live with my son. Just want to point that out. But yeah. Yes, I'm not technically cohabiting.
August, yeah? It's simple. Your negative is sadness. Your sadness. Your symbol is an ass. Could be quite stubborn. Are you stubborn? Are you a stubborn person?
I am very stubborn, yeah.
Yeah, stubborn.
I'm a bit of an ass.
And your universal symbol is the sea. See, Daniel and me are both born in September.
And so's Joe.
And who?
Joe Joyce.
Yeah, and I'm a powerful guy.
Yeah.
So when I knew Joe was born in September, I didn't want that fight because I knew he's going to be tough. He's a tough.
And how was it when... First of all, on the night itself, when you saw how it ended and Daniel's eye.
Yeah, and I wasn't there. I think that was a problem that I wasn't there as well because I couldn't stand watching. I don't like to see him take punches, you know what I mean? So I left the venue. I should have stayed. I think it would have made a difference if I stayed, but I couldn't watch it, Do
you feel guilty then?
No, I don't feel guilty. I feel weak. I should have been more stronger. If I put them into boxing, I should be able to watch them give a blow and take a blow.
But then after the defeat, the backlash was pretty immense and unfair.
I don't take that on board, really.
No?
That's all part of the game, really. People talk, innit? What are they saying now? He's on top of the world. What's the talk? It's all talk, innit, really?
So you don't take the praise?
Nah, I don't take the praise. I don't take any of that. I know Daniel's a special kid and I know he's going to rise up in his own time. And that time has arrived.
After the Joe Joyce fight, Daniel and yourself or as a group made the decision to move on from the Peacock.
Yeah, because we thought we will have a change and find a different trainer.
Would that have happened without the defeat?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Blessing in disguise?
Yes. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened. We would have stayed there. Yeah.
And when you were
I'm so used to leaving when it ain't going right, you know, it's something that I've always done.
but notably not with your family.
No, I never leave my family. I stand put. Yeah, I don't leave family because family is special.
So you moved on from the Peacock. Obviously, at the time, Martin was still the manager, but not the trainer.
Yeah.
What made you choose Shane McGuigan, ultimately?
Shane McGuigan, I don't know. I just liked something about him. I just liked something about him when I saw him training, and he's got a winning team. I never hear about him losing. They're always winning, so I want to be on the winning team, really.
So when Daniel was with Shane,
Yeah.
I never saw you in the gym. I saw you outside.
All right.
I saw you in the van. I saw you in a car.
Yeah.
But I never saw you in the gym while he was training. Was that a specific thing? Did you not want to go in there and watch him, or?
I can't remember why I did that. Maybe I just wanted him to grow and not to be dependent upon me, because he was always looking for my approval, like, you know. And I thought I'd stay out and try to let him stand on his own feet, really.
And do you think that worked to an extent?
It did work because it's helped him to be the person he is. Because I try to let him grow up, like, you know. You can't just depend on me all the time. You've got to learn how to depend on yourself, like, you know, like I did. I had a family when I was 16.
Yeah. Got a big family now.
Yeah. My eldest is 43.
Wow. How old are you?
63.
Wow, 43. Jesus. Can you imagine? Like, my son's 8.
Yeah.
So imagine having a 43-year-old. I'm 42.
All right. So my son's older than you.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it feels like I've been around forever.
We were talking off camera about the documentary on the McGuigan Gym, Stable, which I think is on BBC iPlayer. Daniel's in that a fair bit, and Caroline, of course.
Yeah.
But the weird thing was, by the time it actually came out and people were able to watch it, Daniel had moved on by that point.
Yeah.
How much, because I know it's a delicate subject and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how much will you or can you talk about the reasons for leaving that gym? Because it wasn't purely boxing related.
Oh, no, it was just personal stuff, family stuff, you know? It was all family stuff, you know? Family don't always go as smoothly as you would like it to be, you know? So sometimes it's a rocky boat, and the Bible says your enemies are members of your own family.
That's a chilling thought. Again, I don't want to put words.
It just doesn't, you know, things. I suppose because I've never liked female boxing, I'm not always encouraging my daughter. You know what I mean? I'm more encouraging Daniel because that's how it was from the beginning. She just wanted to box, but I don't really like female boxing. I don't like the idea of women getting punched in the face and changing their personality and getting too masculine. I find a lot of them become very masculine, you know, and lose their feminine side.
I don't think that's an uncommon attitude, especially among men of your generation.
Yeah, I suppose so, and that's what I'm like. I started seeing a change in my daughter, which I didn't like. You know, and I brought my son in to do the boxing, and she just so happened to be good at it. And you know.
Was there an element of disappointment in that it meant Daniel had to move to a different gym? Because he was looking good.
Yeah, he was looking good. Yeah, we had to go to a different gym because we fell out. Me and my daughter fell out. And she went her separate ways. So I told Shane she can stay here. Me and Daniel will move on because she's a girl. I didn't want her to having to go and find a gym or anything like that. She's my daughter. So I said, she'll stay here and me and Daniel will leave.
How hard was that for you?
No, it wasn't that hard. It's just life, isn't it? From the womb to the tomb. We all meet up in the spirit world anyhow.
And just
This is just a physical journey.
just the final question on this subject, because it is delicate. Have you been able to repair that relationship with?
Oh yeah, well, not. There's nothing really to repair. You know, that's life. People are on different paths. Sometimes it's just written that way. Do you know what I mean?
So wish her all the best.
Yeah, I wish them all the best. Everyone, you know, wish them all the best. You know what I mean?
Going back to Daniel, he then moved on to Don Charles. Now, it's been kind of almost universally praised that was the right decision. He's the right man for Daniel. Do you agree with that? And if so, why? What makes him perfect for Daniel?
Don's a very passionate guy, and he puts his art into what he does, and if it's working out, it's working out. Not much to question about it when we're winning. It's only when we're losing I start questioning.
There has been some suggestion that Don gets on particularly well with you, and that helps because you've got a unit.
Yeah, we get on well.
You're like a combined.
Yeah, we get on well.
Front.
You know, we get on well, and yeah, I suppose it will help. Shane and McGuigan's, it was a bit different, I suppose. And Martin and Tony with Don, it's just different. Everyone's different, isn't they?
Well,
they bring a different thing.
Spencer Fearon, I interviewed him, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe, and we were talking about this.
Yeah.
And he was of the opinion that Don is a better fit for Daniel because of a certain amount of shared cultural identity. You know, without meaning to oversimplify what Spencer said.
Oh, right, okay.
But the fact that Don's black, Daniel's black,
yeah,
black,
doesn't mean
does that come into it?
That doesn't mean anything, to be honest. No, that don't come into it, to be honest.
There's no element of, you know, shared background, shared culture?
Not really. I'm a Caribbean, he's African, we don't get along, the Africans.
Spencer will be watching this. So it's more just, you know, what they bonded particularly well, would you say?
Yeah, I suppose so. They bond well. Yeah. Don's a welcoming man. He's not such hard work like some of the other trainers and stuff. It's easy to get on with Don, I think.
How much input do you have on what they do?
What, in the gym?
Yeah.
Quite a lot. They listen to me. I tell them what, you know.
And is that in terms of tactics for a particular fight?
Yeah, I tell them the tactics as well. And they listen. That's what I like about Don. A lot of the other coaches wouldn't listen. They think they know it all, innit? But I'm a special guy. And I'm a very spiritual person, you know? And because of that, sometimes I just get it spot on.
Well, you can't argue with success, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. I'm very spiritual. When I was a kid, I used to see a lot of spirits. You know, I suppose it's a cultural thing. So in Africa and places of the Caribbean, there's a stronger spiritual element in the black community. And I know what it is because I've experienced it.
So maybe Spencer was right.
Yeah, no, it's not to do, yeah, maybe on that aspect, you know what I mean? Yeah, I've experienced a lot of spiritual things when I was a child, and a lot of spiritual things have happened to me. Do you know what I mean? Once I went to buy a pair of shoes in a shop, and when I walked into the shop, there was two men in the shop, and they started to shout when I walked into the shop, and I said, "What are you shouting about?" Because I knew they were talking about me. And they said, when I walked into the shop, he saw a white light around my body. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Your aura." And I said, "Who are you?" He said, "He's a priest." And I said, "What priest are you?" He said, "He's a priest from the Celestian Church." I said, "What is that church?" He said, "It's a spiritual church." And he said, when I walked into the shop, he saw a light around my body. And he says, "What?" He said, "Listen to me. Listen to me. When you was in your mother's womb, the God that created the heaven and earth visited you. And what you're about to do is massive. This happened 20 years ago. This happened. He says, what you're about to do is massive. And I said, what? And he said, listen, you are already in heaven.
Wow.
And I said what you said. Wow.
I'm just thinking no one's ever said that to me.
I said, wow.
No one's ever said that to me.
Yeah, because it's a wonderful thing, because I used to have so much visitation as a child from peculiar things. And it happened to my mom and it happened to my father, spiritual things, and it happened a lot. It went on for years that I used to see things, and that's what, I suppose that's what led me to my posters and led me to everything that I do, because you have ancestors, and these ancestors don't die. They die in the flesh, but they live in the spirit.
Just before we arrived, you said you'd been doing a bit of training with the boys in the gym, which you've got here on the premises. I think we're going to get some shots of that to go with the interview. How much do you have to think about what Don's doing with Daniel when you're doing stuff with Daniel, and try not to cross over or overwork him or anything like that?
Well, I suppose when he's in full training, I just go up by what Don says, really. If he says he wants him to run this or do this, I do what he says, because I don't want to overtrain him, because I've done that in the past and I've seen the outcome of that in the ring. So, I listen to what Don says. If he says not to have a rest, we have a rest, We try not to overdo it.
Do you ever want to give him a complete rest? Like he's just fought, for example.
I know, and he's going to Brazil on Monday, Daniel. So
he's not training, is he?
Well, we're fighting in September, and we're not fighting no mug. We're fighting Anthony Joshua that could knock your head off your shoulder. So if I was him, I wouldn't rest too much.
You've done my segue for me there. But before we talk about Joshua, the fight Daniel had with Hrgović, which most people would consider the best win of his career so far.
Yeah, everyone said he was going to lose that fight, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hrgović is really, really good.
I predicted Hrgović would win.
He's really good, but Daniel's special. I'm a special person, and he's my child. He carries my spirit, and what they witness is spiritual.
It just made me think of something there, right? Because on the surface, you've got you, Daniel's father, and you've got Big John Fury, who's Tyson Fury's father. Now, you seem very different, and he certainly expresses himself in more coarse language than you have today. But there does seem to be a real belief in your children, and that you've got something otherworldly or spiritual about you.
Yeah, 100%. I know that's what it is.
Do you see a bit of yourself in John Fury?
100%. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're just from two different cultures, but there's definitely similarities there.
And the Hrgović fight, you were a lot more visible than you have been in the past around Daniel's corner.
Yeah.
And we were told, you'll tell us if this is true or not, that Frank Warren had actually asked you to be more involved.
Well, that's the best thing he's ever done, to be honest, Frank.
This is a man who's recovered from a shooting as well. So I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Because he's helped me a lot by putting me in that corner, because he helped me to deal with my fears.
Yeah.
And by dealing with my fears, it's elevated Daniel as well. Does
he feel more secure with you in the corner, do you think?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
And you say it's helped you by eliminating your fears.
Yeah, because I don't like watching him get punched in the face.
But now you're watching him from closer up.
And the fear of losing as well. I had all these anxieties. But when Frank brought me in the corner, it sort of just went away. So, brilliant.
How involved are you between rounds in telling Daniel what to do and stuff?
Quite involved, yeah.
Is there anything particular that you could share with us that you told him during the Hrgović fight that helped, or that...
I told him to stay on his toes and use the jab and get the double jab working, because he was getting hit quite easily because he was trying to go in with the right hand. But once he started to use the double jab and work off the double jab, he wasn't so easy to get hit.
And that's interesting because that's almost identical to what the commentators were saying. You wouldn't know that because you were there, but on TV they were saying almost exactly the same thing.
Was it?
Yeah, that the double jab was incredibly important. To
get that's what I was saying, and it worked.
That's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So onwards and upwards, you mentioned September 21st, I think it is, Wembley Stadium, Anthony Joshua. I don't think it's quite over the line yet or signed, but it looks likely.
Yeah, it looks likely. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to go on.
As a boxing fan and someone who follows boxing, outside of Daniel, how impressed have you been with the story of Anthony Joshua and what he's achieved?
I think I've been very impressed. I've been very impressed. And I like Anthony. There's just something quite pleasant about him. It seems that way, and I hope it is that way. He seems like a very pleasant person.
Have you met him? Have you had any?
I've met him in the past. When him and Daniel shared a flat together in Sheffield when they were on the England team. And they've sparred a number of rounds together, as with him and Fraser Clark. As Fraser Clark said, Daniel's put him on his arse a few times.
He said that on Seconds Out on our channel.
Did he? All right.
Yesterday.
And he's done the same with everyone.
Yeah, he told my colleague Eamon Khan in Loughborough.
He's done that. Daniel's a powerful guy. You know what I mean?
Were you there for any of those sparring sessions?
No, he phoned me up when he sparred Anthony and he done something to Anthony and he said, like, I've wobbled him or something of that nature and he hurt him. And I said, and then Robert McCracken put it out that it was someone else that did it. Maybe he didn't want no promoters to approach Daniel, so he put it out that it was
very likely because he was a key part of the GB setup at the time.
Yeah, so he put it out that it was a colleague that did it, and I just started phoning everyone up and saying it was Daniel.
You love blowing your own cover.
Yeah, I do. I always blow my own cover. I always tell the truth, and the truth shall set me free.
You didn't feel that. You didn't feel that Daniel should fight Joe Joyce at the time that he
No, I didn't. No, I thought I was fearful because he was born in September. And I know how tough September people are. Now, just like Lennox Lewis, he was born in September.
Well, I can't say I prepared for this interview by finding out which month Anthony Joshua was born in, unfortunately.
October, I think.
Okay. Phew. But do you go into this one, if it does happen, with confidence? Is this the right time?
Oh, yeah. Daniel's going to win this.
Why are you so... I know you're a very spiritual man, but try and give the non-spiritual people some faith in...
Yeah, Daniel. I think Daniel's... the time is... It's all about timing, and I think the time is right. He's maturing, he's getting stronger within himself, and he's knowing himself a lot better, and he's just going to knock him out.
Is it the right time in terms of Joshua as well, in that maybe he's not the force he was?
Yeah, well, Joshua, everything with a beginning has to have an end. And it's who ends it, really. I think it was written that Daniel will end it. Daniel in the Lion's Den, never forget.
And is that the Lion's Den? Is Wembley Stadium then the Lion's Den?
Sorry?
Is Wembley Stadium the Lion's Den?
Wembley Stadium will be the Lion's Den. He won't get it. He'll be doing a lot of hurting and a lot of eating.
How important do you think you'll be in your presence in the corner for this fight?
Where few are gathered, the presence of the Lord is there. And as long as he's there, we'll be okay.
Even if you're not there? I assume you are going to be there.
Yeah, I will be there.
Just checking. Now, you said you not only trained your kids, but you've homeschooled them as well.
Yeah.
How equipped do you feel Daniel is, and the rest of your kids, for life after boxing? It won't be for a while, but how equipped do you feel they are for that?
They're equipped. They're equipped. We all are equipped, you know. We have to survive. Human beings just find a way to survive. There's many people in the world that's in a bad situation, and they find a way to survive, you know. So... they're in a better position, I would say.
What do you see Daniel doing? I mean, he might never have to work again, but, you know, what would you see him doing to fill his time when boxing's done?
Selling posters.
Really? You said he wasn't a natural market trader, I mean.
Well, we're not doing markets,
markets
no
anymore, yeah.
We've elevated from that now. That was
All right, well, fair enough. You said you've raised two families really now.
Yeah, I've raised two families.
Been very successful.
Maybe three.
Yeah, three. Been very successful from a business perspective.
Yeah.
What goals do you still have left in life?
I've got a young boy who's 11. I've got to stay alive for him to strive.
What have you got specific goals for your children?
Yeah, I want Solomon to do great things. And my daughter sings and she writes music. Jadine, and she runs the old ship. And Solomon is the next one coming through in the boxing world. He's a very good boxer, and he's got a lot of skills. He does a lot of things, and I suppose he's seeing everything now through the eyes of his brother and his sister, and it could only help him. He speaks Chinese fluently, and he's doing really well.
Why Chinese? Just out of interest.
I wanted him to go and fight in China and speak to the Chinese, because once you can speak the language, they embrace you. And there's a lot of people to embrace him out there. It's the biggest population in the world.
It's forward thinking, I like it.
So we're going to sell a lot of tickets.
Daniel famously said of Solomon. Sorry. Daniel famously said of Solomon that he's the best of all of you, boxing-wise. Would you go along with that? Is he the best?
I would say so, with his confidence he has, as long as he keeps on training hard and I don't slip.
He was training when we arrived, so I mean that's a good sign.
Because I had him in the gym, but sometimes I'm 63. I have to force myself a bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, because if I don't go, they ain't going.
Okay, makes sense. And just before I do let you go, what does Dave Dubois, Stan Dubois, whatever you prefer, what do you do outside of all this? I know family's everything, that's the same, but what else do you get up to? What fulfills you in life apart from your kids and boxing?
Nothing really.
No?
Just them. Yeah. I don't do a lot. I don't really do a lot. I travel a little bit with them. Everything I do with them, to be honest. I don't really have a lot going on outside apart from selling posters.
So what happens, and I'm not trying to be a gloomy Gus, but what happens when they've retired and they've achieved their goals?
I'll be quite old.
Well, there is that, yeah.
I'll be quite old.
So you won't want to do anything.
Maybe they might be pushing me around in the wheelchair.
What a lovely thought. How would you compare the Dave Dubois now compared to 20 years ago, 30 years ago when you were striving on the markets and all that sort of stuff?
I would say the same. Yeah, life has many experiences and I've experienced some new things, but I'm the same person within. I enjoy the streets, the markets, Camden Market. I love Camden Market. I worked in Camden Market for 10 years. You know what I mean? Selling posters. It was a wonderful time. It was a really exciting time when posters really were selling to the tourists. They'd come, Camden's a big tourist place on a weekend. And everyone, back then it was amazing. Everyone was walking around with one of my posters. I'd sell like 10,000 posters in one day. So wonderful. And the carnivals, that was great. Notting Hill Carnival. You see everyone walking around with a poster 20 years ago. Every other person had a poster. So it was
most of them bought from you.
Yeah, well, one of my team.
Yeah.
One of my team.
And there's a lot of sporting fathers out there who get criticised quite a lot. The Williams sisters' father, Richard,
for
one example, for over pushing their kids, being too invested, all that sort of stuff, living their lives through their children.
I don't live my life through my children. I'm giving them a life.
No, I'm not casting aspersions. But what I was going to say is, for any father, parent out there that wants to be in control, involved in their kids' sporting lives, and they're a bit reluctant because of that criticism.
Well, I put
what
them
would you tell them?
I put them in the sport. To be honest, it's not like they woke up and said they wanted to be boxers. That was my dream and what I wanted them to do. I didn't want them to get into what I was doing, or and so I put them into the boxing and for discipline, for all sorts of things to help them stay focused. I don't. I try not to take too much control of anything. I don't control hardly any of it. My daughter does.
But would you advise other parents to be involved?
Well, I would if they wanted their kid to succeed.
Yeah.
If you want your child to succeed in it, you have to be involved in it. It's not a sort of sport a kid can go and do on his own. Boxing is one of the most hardest sports in the world. You're going to need your whole family backing you in boxing, to be honest, because it's not easy. Yeah, I wouldn't advise them to just send their kid off to the gym, because they more than likely won't even go to the gym. Huh?
That's true.
Yeah, they won't go to the gym. Who wants to go to the gym?
No one wants to. Yeah.
No one would want to go to the gym. It's something the parent has to do. If you want a fighter, you've got to take your child to the gym. Well, they're not going to go to the gym. What kid wants to get punched in the face? Huh?
I don't think any grown-ups want to get punched in the face, to be honest.
I remember Daniel when he was a little kid, and he was so strong because he was doing all this groundwork and push-ups and stuff. And one day the head coach said to this little kid, "Oh, you're sparring Daniel today. Get in the ring." And he just started vomiting.
I mean, I'll probably be the same now.
Jesus Christ. They were all petrified of Daniel. He was like a little robot.
He's a big kid for
He
his
was
age as
strong.
well.
No, he wasn't that
No?
big. He was just strong to the core because of how he lived. He trained so hard as a child. He was so strong, So all the other kids was really fearful. I remember one kid saying to him, "When we spar, you hit me, then I hit you back."
No.
Then you hit me.
Yeah. It's like the jabs only, isn't it? It's one of those.
Yeah, I've seen it all with Daniel. So now he's coming alive. Daniel's going to be reigning in the boxing world for a long time because it was written, I suppose. Some things are just written. You can't change what is written, I named him Daniel because of that biblical story.
Sure.
And that biblical story is fulfilling itself.
And just on Daniel, if reports be believed, you can correct it if it's wrong, but he's recently in a relationship. He's got a partner.
Yeah, he hasn't got a partner. He's got a girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Yeah, that's what I mean. Sorry.
Yeah, he hasn't got a partner. He's just got a girlfriend.
At my age, you don't call them girlfriends anymore. That's why you
he's
call them
just
partners. But
No, he does. Yeah, he don't. I don't know if they're even still together because he's just doing so much, isn't he?
I was just going to ask, how's that been for you? Him having someone around and stuff.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I had someone when I was 16 years old.
Well, yeah. You had kids as well, so I mean.
I had a family at 16.
Yeah. You might not like that so much.
I would love him to have kids. Right,
Even during his career?
Yeah.
Because some people are quite protective over that.
No, I don't. I would love him to have kids now. You shouldn't stop him from fighting, should it?
No, I mean, I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Depends how hands-on he wants to be, I suppose.
No, I don't think that will bother him. I think it's a good thing to have a family. Look at Tyson. He's got 7 children.
Yeah?
Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I know.
He's got like 7 kids and he's still kicking ass, isn't he?
Very good
Do you
point.
know what I mean? I think it's a good thing. It makes you gives you more focus. You know what you're fighting for. You've got your child, your wife. It's a better thing. It makes you more focused and you know what you're fighting for. I think family is very important because we need to multiply and stay on the earth and not die off.
Oh, yeah. That would be good.
You know what I mean?
I've had one. I've done my bit. What's the biggest thing about you that you'd like people out there to know that they won't know?
About me?
Yeah.
What you mean?
Just things maybe they've got you wrong in some way. Maybe there's something about you they'd be surprised by.
Well, they definitely got me wrong. They will definitely get me wrong. You know what I mean?
What would surprise them about you? What could you tell us about you that people would be surprised by or shocked by?
I don't know really. I love music. I love art. I love nice things and nice people. Yeah.
Good stuff. I think that's a nice way to end, isn't it? Really appreciate it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff.